Shalom. Welcome back to Hebrew Literacy. We are continuing with our directed immersion into the book of Exodus, chapter 19. Today we will be working through verses 7 and 8, probably, maybe a bit more, but probably that's it. I'm so grateful that you all are here, especially those of you who could be here live. I know that in the UK, I heard they had a daylight savings. When that follows in the rest of the Western Hemisphere in the United States, we will also adjust our time only by 30 minutes. That's kind of the compromise because here in the East, we do not have daylight savings. So at least we don't have to wildly swing the patterns for my congregation here who watches as well, and for others here in the the islands. So it'll just be a 30-minute slide like we usually do with the daylight savings, all right? As for now, we are still at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. GMT plus 8. And let's go. I want to bless all of you, by the God of Israel. May your heart's desires, may the mishalot levavechem, may they guide you and help you to grow always and continuously in Lashon HaKodesh. Okay, good. All right, so let's see here. We are going to jump right in. Exodus chapter 29, verse 7. And I just realized, let me real quickly. Oh, it's not letting me do that. That's fine. We'll just use the mouse then. We'll just use the mouse. All right. And what does it say? It says, ולקחת את שמן המשחה ויצקת על ראשו umashachta אותו. All right. Let's see. ולקחת. So the to, we know what that is. To. That is the end of a perfect verb. Oi, hold on. Reminding us of the word ata, which means you when talking to a man. Ata. Okay. So lakach is to take. Lakachto. This is a perfect verb meaning you took. But we have some magic up our sleeves with the vav conversive over here. This guy is going to change it from a perfect, like a complete action, to an imperfect, a completed action. So while lakachto might mean you took, velakachto can mean and you shall take, or then you shall take, and or then. Can mean other things too, but here I'm going to go then, lakachto, then take shall you. Et, we don't translate. This is the DDO, the definite direct object marker. Now, I am recording this in 4K UHD, but who knows when YouTube will finish processing that. It usually takes several hours. So you're probably, if you're watching me in the premiere, where I'm over here in the chat, hi me, hoping to answer you guys' questions and comments, it might only be in 1080p at that time. Come back later if you have a high resolution device, you want to see it on a big TV, or you're being bothered by the pixelation. Okay, and as always, you can always slow down my speed to make me a little bit slower. How does this sound today? Please let me know in the live chat or the comments how the sound sounds. I've made some adjustments using a lapel microphone at the moment, so I'm very curious with a what do they call it? Like a kitten or something? the fuzzy thing, you audiophiles. What's that called? I know it breaks the wind, but I thought it's called like a cat or something. Anyway, I don't remember. Let me know the term. I'm curious. Okay, so velakachta. So you shall take. Et we don't translate. Shemen hamishcha. Here we have a construct chain connecting this word, hence the blue box around it I have there, to this word. So these two are like a compound word. And in ancient times, they would have been read like one word. So the ha and the dagesh after it, that's our the. And because we have a the for the last word in the chain, that will be transferred, not transferred, but duplicated, you could say, to the beginning of the first word in the chain. So because we have ha mishcha, so shemen is oil, and it doesn't change the pointing. Shemen means oil, or it can mean olive oil. Oil of the. So we're going to take that the and transfer it over. We'll copy it over. It's in both places. So the shemen, the oil of the, that's ham, mishcha. Mishcha is anointing. This is where we get the word Hamashiach from, the Messiah, the anointed one, which can also mean the high priest. Right? And just a little friendly reminder to undo some of the misinformation put out there by some of the anti-missionaries, the singers, and what's that other guy's name? Follows right in his footsteps, tells the same lies. What's his name? Starts with an S. Is it Scarborough? Anyway, I can't think of his name offhand. I see his face. I see the lying mug right in front of me. So to kind of make sure that you don't fall prey to some of the tactics that the lying anti-missionaries will use, they will say things like, "Oh, look, Mashiach, it means anointed one," right? It means the Messiah. One of the arguments I've heard is they try to apply then the Messiah to everywhere where you see that. And they'll say, look, there's lots of Messiahs. It's all over the place. It's not how language works. You cannot take a word with multiple meanings in English and then take the one word, the meaning that you like, and then apply that all over the place, pepper that all over the place just to break messianic prophecies. It does not work that way, okay? Now, one of the interesting double meanings is that HaMashiach does mean the high priest, right? All by itself, it can mean the high priest. He's HaMashiach. And so that's really interesting for those of you who do believe in the apostolic writings, because when you read in the letter written to the Hebrews, hey, that's us. And it talks about how the Messiah is the high priest in the heavens after the order of Melchizedek, and he's making propitiation up there. It's very interesting because you have a nice play on words when you kind of reconstruct back to the Hebrew from that. Unfortunately, we only have it in the Greek, but when you reconstruct that from the Jewish Greek back into the Jewish Hebrew, it's a nice play on words. The high priest, the Messiah is the high priest. HaMashiach is HaMashiach. You understand? So, all right, continuing on. Viyatzakta rosho. Yatzak is to pour, okay? Yatzak, and it's yatzak to. By the way, if this is your first time doing a premiere with us or a live teaching here at Hebrew Literacy, please leave me a comment down below. Let me know, give me a shout out or in the chat. You have to be logged in to do that. I'd love to hear from you guys. Almost every day I hear from people how this channel has helped them. I'm so excited about that. It always gives me the emotional juice to keep coming up with new ways to help people to understand and remember Hebrew. And it's just wonderful. It really makes me feel good. So thank you for all of you who have shared about that, how you're having breakthroughs and you're understanding. This is, I think, the best gift that you can have in the world is to be able to understand the language of the prophets, right? So you cannot be deceived by translations then. So yatsakta means you poured, okay? So we have again our vav conversive, da 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 da. just like the first one in the verse, and that's going to change the aspect. Yatzakta, you poured, to, and you shall pour, upon, rosho, the head of O. Rosh meaning head, O. And you'll notice it's a construct word. See, the word is technically in the construct. It's got the blue box around it. So literally, this is head of he. You can think of it that way. Head of he. Okay. Sometimes that helps people to be hyper literal. Of course, it's his head. His head. Umashachta. Mashachta. So again, we got that ta at the end for ta. By the way, if you are new and this color drawing stuff doesn't really do it for you, make sure to check in with us on Mondays. On Mondays. That's when we always try to do our listen and learn. It's for auditory learning styles where you don't have to watch the screen at all even. And there's no colors, there's none of that. It's just, usually my camera's not even on. It's just auditory. You can listen while you drive or whatever, what you're going on. You can do that with this as well. But the colors add for those of you who like visual learning. So the head of, his head. Umashachta. So mashach, related to this word up here, the mishcha or Mashiach. Mashach is to anoint. To anoint. Mashachta means you anointed. And again, we have our vav, da 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 da. Here it's an u, but it's, don't make no mistake, it's the same as this guy, the same as this guy in meaning. Okay? That u is only to ease the pronunciation. Whenever the word starts with a labial, or if it has a schwa under it, the vav changes to u. Almost always, u. So, umashachta. Then you shall anoint. Al rosho, upon his head. Umashachta. Umashachta. And you shall anoint oto. So again, that aleph tav, that is the same as this guy up here. The only difference is it's got a suffix on the end. Oh! Him. Of course, we see we've got that all over the place. We have the O here. And we have also, okay, not all over the place, just one of the place in this particular one. Here, see? Head of him. You could say that like that. Just clean it up when you bring it into English or whatever your language is. All right. Any comments or questions? Ah, I didn't bring something to drink down with me. No! No! Oy! Fine, we'll live. But I might keep it to 25, 30 minutes. Okay, leaving time for a question, leaving time for a question. That's fine. I'm going to keep the video going. You can always pause while you read the question or put your question in, and you can slow me down. If I'm too fast, click the gearbox up over there, click playback speed, and select the speed that you need. All right? Maybe one more time through. Verse 7. ולקחת et shemen המשחה. Then you shall lakach, you shall take et shemen המשחה. The anointing oil, literally the oil of the anointing. Remember that the, it gets copied over to the front because it's a construct. That's what that blue box means I've got there, okay? That word is in a construct state. When a word is in a construct state, usually you'll say of after it. Oh, what's going on here? Sorry, I'm not sure what happened. Let's pause. Boy, that was a little bizarre. Okay. Oil of, right? We get the blue box, it's going to be followed by of. So you can always try to put an of in between words in the construct state. And just if it doesn't sound right in your target language, then you can drop it, okay? But first try with. So oil of the anointing means the oil of the anointing, okay? The anointing oil. Veyatzakto. And you shall pour upon rosho, the head of Oh, his head. Umashachta. And you shall anoint, or so you shall anoint, to him. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next verse. Verse 8. Verse 8 says, well, we'll count it. Let me get my arrow there. Can you see the arrow? Okay, good. banaiv takriv והלבשתם khutanom. Okay. Now here we have special emphasis. You see the direct, definite direct object over here? It's coming before the verb. And usually when that happens, that means there's special emphasis. Okay. I like to use magenta for emphasis. Because usually the object of a verb comes after the verb. And the verb's over here, look, takriv, you will present, or you will cause to come near, right? So because we have the et before that, that's emphasis, okay? So he's emphasized. Okay. The et, and the vav, we translate the vav, and banaiv. Banaiv. So this is, of course, the word banim, plural from ben. Banim means children or sons. Here it's sons because we're talking about the kehuna, the priesthood. And we've gotten rid of the final mem. Also, I didn't point this for you either, sorry. So banim, when you lose that final mem and it becomes bene, that's a construct state, right? So for example, bene Yisrael. Actually, I got a better example for you using that. Ki yom hashavi'i Shabbat ladonai. Oh, is that a good one? Ki yom hashabat oti beni uvene bnei Yisrael leolam. For the Sabbath day, it is a sign between me and between the bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, leolam, forever, for eternity, right? Not until the Messiah comes, for eternity, right? So bnei, that's the construct, and then we add the vav at the end. It becomes banaiv, sons of Iv, sons of him. So I'm just going to say his sons. His sons. Now, remember the emphasis. Now his sons, takriv, takriv. The ta, we have a sentence, because this is an imperfect verb, we have the ta at the front for ata instead of at the end. Okay. So again, reminding us of you, the ata. Ta, 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 you shall takriv, that's hikriv. Notice I have the little hif marker over the top to remind you that it's hifil. This guy, I'm just going to use red because I got that there. When you have a yod like that, I thought I had a brighter red. Oh well, whatever. Jammed in before the third root letter. The root letters are kof, some say kuf, resh, and beit. Karav means to draw near. To draw near. You ever heard of the Israeli martial art, Krav Maga, it's from the same root. Contact combat, right? You're like close. It's like melee fighting. So the yod, though, when you have that yod, you have that yod jammed in right after the second root letter, before the third, you put a yod in there. This is one of the marks that will, if you're being a language detective, that tells you, it's the hifil binyan. It's the so-called causative verbal stem. So when there's an extra yod and you don't know why he's there before the third root letter, and you know the root verbal meaning, then it's whatever that is. It's usually to cause to do the thing. Sometimes it's elative, right? Sometimes there's some other means, but usually like 85% of the time, I'm going to take a guess, it means to cause to do that thing. So takriv is you shall cause to draw near, cause to come near, which if it was a sacrifice, it would mean present, but we're not talking about sacrifices. We're talking about et banaiv, his sons. Now his sons you shall bring near, the hilbashtam. Okay, so we have a few things happening here. We have another hifil, but in this case, the giveaway that it's the hifil, it's not. There's not a yod jammed in there. There's a preformative hey. It's a like hifil. See there. This guy. That's the clue. Okay. The verbal root is lavash. In Ukrainian, there's a food called a lavash. It's like a wrap, kind of similar to a tortilla, pita bread, somewhere in between. There's lavash. That's kind of funny. So if you're a Ukrainian, you know Ukrainian language, you could think of lavash means to don, like to get clothed in something, right? To dress up. And so lavash, you imagine you're dressed up in a giant lavash. You're trying to eat it so much you got dressed in it. Anyway, I know that won't work for everybody. Lavash. But it's not just lavash, it's hilbash. So clothe, someone's going to cause someone to be clothed, right? And we have the ta at the end because this is a perfect verb, meaning it's incomplete. I mean, it's complete. Okay, it happened already, usually. So that ta, again, for, like, just like this guy at the beginning. I'll just put the note there. Why not? So, what color? What color? That note. Maybe orange won't be too confusing. Oh, let's use this orange. Not so bright. Okay. This verb is what we call, you don't have to know this, okay? For those of you who like to know it, this is an imperfect form of the verb. It's an incomplete action, right? So it's basically, so oftentimes this means a future or a present, like it's ongoing, or it doesn't always work that way. Time in biblical Hebrew is different than time in Indo-European languages and different than in modern Hebrew. But hilbash to, that's a perfect. That one's a perfect. We'll use, what color? Oh, what the heck, let's use the dark blue. So this one is perfect. Keep it humble, even though you're perfect. Okay, lavash. Oh, it's a perfect lavash. So tasty. Perfect. But then we've got the game changer, the vav conversive. He's conversive because he's going to convert. He's going to convert the perfect into an imperfect. So by the power of vav, that is going to become, get normal orange. It's going to become imperfect. Ran out of space. Imperfect. Okay. So the hilbashta means, and you shall dress like cause to wear clothes, cause to don clothes. Whom will you dress? Am. We have the suffix mem here, which means the same thing as the suffix hem. Them. Hilbashtom, and you shall clothe them. Okay, what will we clothe them with? Kutonot. Kutonot, it's plural. Kutonot means tunics, with tunics. Okay, so let's go through this one more time. Ve'et banaiv takriv. But his sons you shall bring near. Hilbashtom, and you shall dress them. And then there's no with here. It would have been nice to have a bait for with, okay, or to put this word first, but syntax is what it is. Kutonot, with tunics, okay. A kotenet is a tunic, and kutonot is tunics, plural. Let me do a time check. Okay, pretty good. Okay, so I just looked at verse 9. It's very long, guys. I'm sorry. It's like 3 verses in length. So I was thinking maybe we'll just knock that out now, but let's stop before we go too long. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And as always, if you enjoy the work that we do here, if you are benefiting from this, please consider becoming a patron of mine over at patreon.com/Hebrew Literacy. You can get the Patreon app on iOS or Android device, or you can just go there, go to the website, patreon.com/Hebrew Literacy. You can buy my book on Genesis there. You can become a monthly giver. We do have special videos and teachings available at different levels of giving. So I do try to make some extra stuff available for you over there. But really the spirit is if you just want to help what we're doing here to support things that I'm doing and then trying to come up with new ways to help you guys learn biblical Hebrew, it's much appreciated. This is what we are doing for a living. So of course it's ministry first. I want to help people first. For 20 some odd years, I part-time taught biblical Hebrew for free. And now we're trying to survive. First and foremost, I am the halakhic authority at Congregation Simchat Hashem here in the Philippines. And so much thanks to our congregants. And to any of you who find it in your heart to help us, it's much appreciated. If not, if you don't have to give, that's fine. You can still become a patron over there. There's some stuff for free as well. And it's just kind of nice that I can communicate with you over there in case anything ever happens over here. We did go through a season where we were actively repressed on this particular place where you're watching me right now. And it's my belief that still our growth is limited because it's kind of strange. There's a certain box that we never seem to break out of, even though our number of views go up and all that kind of stuff. So thanks to all of you intercessors who are praying for us. And I will see you guys tomorrow where we will continue with our directed Hebrew immersion in the book of First Kings. And it's getting exciting in First Kings now. I think we'll be looking at the graphic novel for that. All right. Shalom, shalom. Be well.